As we get older, things change. Things kind of drop sometimes. We get weaker, we get slower, but we don't have to. If we keep up with our fitness, we're going to be able to live a longer, healthier life. And so if you think about it, we're all here for whatever time we're here. But what are we doing in our later years to take care of ourselves so that we can still go on those walks, so that we can still play with our children, our grandchildren, and have a lot of fun? So stay tuned, because we have one of our authors who's going to be coming up talking about the later years after 40, women after 40, and how you can become fit and live a better life. Hi, my name is Lynda Sunshine West, and I'm the founder at Action Takers Publishing. We love to showcase our authors, to share their stories, their message of how they're making a greater impact on the planet. If you want to become one of our authors, go to actiontakerspublishing.com and check out the different opportunities that we have available for you. If you love this interview here, go ahead and subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, we are at Action Takers Publishing. We're also on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. So go ahead and subscribe over there as well. So I have one of our authors today, Karen Koehler. She is in this book right here called Passion, Purpose, and Possibilities, which you can get a copy of that book by going to actiontakerspublishing.com/passion. While you're over there, you're going to see a bunch of free gifts from our authors. So go cash in on those free gifts and take advantage of them. So Karen, we're going to be talking today about fitness. We're going to talk a little bit about your chapter as well in the book, Passion, Purpose, and Possibilities. But fitness for women over 40, let's talk about this, because this is such a big topic that I think that a lot of people, when they get to that age, they kind of start to slow down. It's hard to freaking take care of ourselves your entire life, right? So what happens, first of all, maybe you know the answer to this. What happens in our brain where we allow ourselves to slow down? And before you go into that, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi there. I'm Karen Koehler, and I love to ski and bike with my dogs. And that's been my sport that's given me a lot of passion, purpose, and possibility as I've been in my 40s and now 50s, and I have friends in their 60s doing this sport. I've had friends in their 70s doing this sport. So it's my inspiration for me, but there's always an inspiration for everybody. They just need to find it.
And how do we find that inspiration? Because I just share a little bit from my perspective. I'm 62 now. And when I was probably in my late 40s, I went through menopause early, about age 40, totally done with it. So about age 47 or so, I started to lose that zest and zeal or what have you, for really taking care of myself and paying attention to what I was doing with my body. Many years before, I was in bench press contests. I was a bodybuilder. So I really took care of myself, but something's changed. Do you have any idea? Is there something that happens in our brain that tells us you need to slow down because you're getting older? What happens?
I think it's society. Society has a lot of sedentary people, and we see those sedentary people and we see their track, and we hear about the menopause hype, and we're like, oh, well, this is my destiny. I'll tell you this. It doesn't have to be. It does not have to be your destiny. There's so much you can do to rock it over 40, over 50, over 60 and 70. 80. I've got role models that have really encouraged me to know that there was a different way. And sometimes I get scared. Sometimes I freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gained a pound because of menopause. But then I realize, no, I have control.
I love that, because it's I think what happens a lot in society, like you mentioned, is that we are told this is the way it is. And so we believe that to be true for ourselves. But in what you're saying is, no, it's not true. It doesn't have to be true. You can change that narrative. So let me ask you before we go into the topic of, of training, strength training, bone health, and things like that. Let me ask you, were you always physically fit, or was this something that you adopted later in life?
I was physically fit. Yes. I was 20 to 30 pounds overweight. I had a lot of pain in my wrists and my hands and my feet. I was not a well athlete. I had digestive issues. So like from my 20s, 30s, I just wasn't eating right. I had no idea how to eat right. And I certainly wasn't doing resistance training to help my body either. And so it took me 2 decades to sort all of that out. And part of my motivation to sort it out was to do really well in my sport. But again, our motivation can be as simple as, I want to play with my grandkids. I want to be able to do activities of daily living with ease. I want to be able to go to the lookout when I'm on a travel. I want to be able to hike up to that cool mountain lake. Like, it can be really simple.
Yeah, like just hiking is I've noticed about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, that when I would walk even short distances, that my calves would seize up. Now I've always had that issue, but never with short distances. I've been a marathon runner and stuff like that. And I never, like, I had the issue, but it wasn't like, it took me like 10, 15 miles before it got there. Whereas at like later in life, age 55 or so, that my calves would start to seize up after less than a quarter of a mile. So just that alone, being able to walk, like, that would be a great pleasure, right? To be able to walk without your calves seizing up. So that could be a great example of what you're talking about here. Can you give some other examples of what being physically fit can help you to do?
Well, there's a really cool study. It was done by a doctor. She was a surgeon for all different ages, orthopedic surgeon. And so she was really excited to know how bone in our body responds. And so she did a study, and she had people doing weight training. And anyway, so they learned that when we do exercise and move and do weights, that there's a hormone in our bones that moves around and helps lay the bone on bone, and it goes up to our brain and heals our brain so we don't get dementia. So it was a very cool study that showed us why so many people that have really bad osteoporosis also have dementia, because they're not moving. And so our bodies were designed to move. That's what we're meant to be doing to feel well. It helps our mood. It helps our gut. And add in some proper nutrition, get some magnesium for those muscle cramps. And I mean, you need to talk to your doctor, of course, if you're changing up anything. But those are things that have worked really well for me.
That's interesting. I wonder what the correlation is, because they say that dementia and Alzheimer's is hereditary. So is it possible that it's not? That
There's so many
maybe.
studies now that are showing that we have a lot of control, even when we have a genetic predisposition to something. And Alzheimer's is one of them. Alzheimer's, there's more and more studies showing how our gut health is 90% of our disease is from our gut health. And Alzheimer's is one. And it used to be like the brain is separate. It's not separate. It's connected to your gut. And so what you're putting into your body is so influential. And so my grandmother, she had 5 sisters and all of them got dementia. And she decided in her 60s, she was another inspiration for me. I think it was close to her 70s. Like, I don't want that. And so she started moving. She started square dancing. She started eating better. She didn't get it.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a great testimony right there, right?
Yep.
So then also, I was just like, what came to mind is that just because you're thin doesn't mean you're fit.
No.
So just because there are people out there that are thin, it doesn't mean they're actually fit, because the fitness is inside of our bodies. It's outside too. That's what we can see. But there's so much. I mean, our bodies are crazy. They are really
Yeah.
crazy, like how they react to different foods, different things that we do and stuff. So let's talk about that. Like, how can you, like, if you're somebody who is thin, how can you make sure that you have that strength, that healthy thinness?
Yeah. I was the lightest I ever was quite recently, and I was like, oh, this is bad. I probably am losing muscle mass and bony mass. And I went to a personal trainer, and it made such a huge difference. Like right away, my everything felt safer. I felt stronger. And I work with powerful dogs. They can yank me one way, my body can go another. So I need to be in good shape and strong. And so do we all, to like, if we fall and slip when we're older. My mom, she's 82. The other day she was trying to put on her jeans and she tripped and sort of fell over on the concrete floor. She was totally fine. She was totally fine.
Mm,
And that's because she hikes hills and she swims and she eats properly. And so there's proof in point. Like most people, that could have been a really bad situation once, if they haven't taken care of themselves.
yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I don't want to fall at 82, but if I do, I want to be like your, bounce back up. You want to like bounce right back
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it just makes your whole body safer and we should be like when you deal with personal trainers like me will be saying like, you need to lift heavy. You need to, and like, not ridiculous, but playing with 10-pound weights, not like little pink 1-pound weights, and upward even. I'm definitely want to go and buy myself a set of 15-pound dumbbells. I'm ready for that now. So like, you just have to really tune in. And that's the thing. We have the wisdom now. We've had this body for a long time once we're 40. And if we tune in with compassion and respect, we can really, really do amazing things.
How do you suggest somebody get started? Let's say somebody is listening right now and they are 60 and they're like, well, I don't really want to lift weights. What are some other ways that they can maybe get started in strengthening themselves? Because strength training isn't always weightlifting. There are different ways you can do that, bands, calisthenic type of things. But what do you suggest that somebody gets started with?
I have a client right now who's 66, and what we started with was working with some bands and just our body weight. And the key is to make it fun. But what was so fun is she was telling me like, I didn't have to roll on the dock to get out of the canoe after we've been working together for a few weeks. So it made a difference for her. And that's the thing. Like, we need to keep practicing getting up and down. People take it for granted. And we need to be able to squat to get on and off the toilet, right? Like, it's basic things. Like, you lose your independence if you can't do these basic things. So you might be like, oh, I don't want to do squats. We need to, and we do them every day.
Hey, you could have exercise. It could be like the toilet exercise, and you could say, okay, before you go to the bathroom, squat 10 times on the toilet, and then finally sit down. Ooh, that would be kind of weird.
Yes.
But it could be the toilet exercise or something. My husband was the fitness director for the Marine Corps for many years, way back in the day. And he's 80 now. And he created something called the couch potato workout, where you actually do the whole entire workout while you're sitting on the couch, you're watching TV. But the point there is that, right, it's about doing something, because you can sit down, watch TV, eat, chips and candy and stuff like that, or you can sit and watch TV and do something. So, yesterday I was on my walk and something came up and I was like, oh my gosh, there must be something here. There must be something here. And I was thinking about how our desire for what we want, like we're going to make our decisions most of the time based on our desire. So is my desire for being fit and healthy stronger than my desire for eating that particular thing right now, or my desire for not working out, or my desire? So like it has to decide like which desire is stronger. And then that for me, that's what I use to remind myself to not eat a particular food, or not eat as much of a particular food, or, it reminds me to get my ass up and out of the house, to go do something, go for a walk or do something. And COVID really helped me become a homebody. It's really weird because I was never like that before, but with COVID, I'm probably home 5 days a week. So I have to get myself out of the house. I have to remind myself. So let's talk about that, like desires that move us in one direction or another. So how do you combat that, maybe that feeling of wanting to do something that is not going to fit the ultimate desire that you have? Like, is it because I look at things like eating foods. Those are instant gratifications. Those are not fulfilling the ultimate desire that you may have. And so I do want to be fit again. I let myself go. I'm ready to be fit again. So how do you, like, mentally, because it was my mind that let myself go. My mind let my body go. And so I'm ready to kick back in, right? But how do you help people with that?
You have to have a tipping point and a strong why. And a tipping point is usually a point of frustration where you're just like, oh, I'm not going to be like that anymore. And like there was a push, like my friend, one of the people I'm coaching, she was at the old folks home and she looked at how the old folks were at her mother-in-law's home and her mother-in-law was doing really bad. And she's like, which way do I want to be? And she's like, I need to change now. She's in her 60s. Like, I need to start doing something different now. And that's when we started working together. And so you need a tipping point, a point of frustration where you're like, no more. And then keep coming back to the why. Like, why? She didn't want to look like that. She didn't want to be like that. She didn't want to be limited. She wants to be able to hike up mountains. She wants to be like, so coming back to your recommitment and recommitment and recommitment. And I mean, when we get our head around the fact that our whole body works better when we move, once we start moving, we start to feel better. It affects our mood when we're not moving. We were not designed with a mushroom stem. We were designed with legs, and they're meant to move. And so everything in our body is happier when we move. Our mood, our bones and muscles and everything, our gut, those key things to everything.
You got to move it. You got to move it, right? You got to move it. You got to move it. So how did you get into this line of work? Well, first of all, so you coach people on fitness and help them to get into shape, or, into whatever shape they want to be in, I guess, because you can only do so much, right? As a trainer, you can only do so much. But how did you get into this type of work?
Well, again, it was really when I was, so I got into health and life coaching, which I adore, about 5 years ago. And it helped me so much. It was actually during COVID. And I would have had a really hard time if I wasn't learning coaching because you coach yourself first. And right. I grew up with a mom who was very fearful of a lot of things. She was in my chapter. And I didn't have a very good optimistic outlook on things and positivity and seeing possibility, and getting coaching tools really helped me. And possibility, like, if you don't think you can get better and move more, and you're not going to be able to, your brain will stop you. You have to believe in it. And that's not an easy thing to do. So that's where it's really helpful to have a coach. And so that, and then I got into personal training when I realized I was getting too light, and I was really curious to see what it was all about. I used to weight train as a kid, but I had forgotten how, when you do it right, and I hadn't learned all the different things for, everybody who has a different sport or different goals, like whatever your goals are, whether it's body composition or to be able to do activities of daily living and whatever those are for you, as well as possible, and to travel and get in and out of the car easily and get up and down, all of those things. So I got into it, loved it, and of course wanted to share it with everybody that wants to work with me. So it's just, it's easy. It's fun. That's the way I like to make it for people. There's time. And so a coach can really give you the support and accountability to make it fit in your life.
Yeah, and you can connect with Karen. Go to her website at bunchomomentum.com. Again, that's bunchomomentum.com. the letter O, momentum.com, and check it out. See what she has to offer over there. Karen, I want to know, like, how important is it at around age 40 for us women to really pay attention to what's going on inside of our bodies?
It's very important because unlike when we're small and we'll have all these patterns that we've developed to keep us safe, and they're not useful patterns once we're older. Like to stop and freeze instead of moving is not a useful pattern as we get older. Our blood pressure is going to go up, our cortisol is going up, like all these things, like are just managing all of our stresses if we're caregiving for everybody but ourselves and that sort of thing. Yeah, it really adds up. And our body can't take it over 40. Like it needs care. It needs us to tune in, and we can because we're wiser and we can tune in, and we need to because yeah, we just can get unhealthy much more quickly. We're resilient as a youngster to all the different patterns we've developed, but those patterns don't serve us well when we're 40, and we need to learn to change them, and that's hard. It's hard without a coach.
Definitely, because having a coach is going to help you to remind you, first of all, to remind you to remember about yourself. That's one thing. So I want you to speak to the person who's watching right now, who is taking care of somebody else, and they're like, I don't have time. Like I have to spend all my time taking care of that person. I've heard this from a lot of people, and I want you to talk to that person.
Yeah. It's a question of looking at your schedule and recognizing there is time. And again, it can be helpful with a coach to figure it out. But essentially, society even puts pressure on us to think self-care is bad. And yeah, you've got to be running yourself ragged, caring for everybody but yourself. The truth is, you run out of gas, and then you can't do anything for yourself, and soon you can't do anything for other people either. So really, the critical piece is to look after you. You'll be fun to be around. People want to be around them. They'll be feeding off your energy. That's the way we want it, but society doesn't show us that. So that's just really important to acknowledge, and that getting a coach and practicing self-care and learning how to do it and making it sustainable in your life, it's a question of priority and deciding with a capital D. And that it's really excuses when we say there's no time.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. Like, because we can either make excuses or we can make a change. And those are the decisions we are faced with, like every single second of every single day. Every second has a decision to make, right? Is that the D you were talking about? You said a capital D.
Decide with a capital D. Yeah, just that, I'm not making an excuse for this today. And it's baby steps. Like we have to sort of coach our brain that's trying to keep us safe, that's used to old patterns, to allow a new pattern to take place. And so you can't take too big a step or it's going to stop you. It's going to be like, oh, no, this is too hard. It's too late. Like, and again, these patterns, they're trying to keep you safe, but they're not. They don't work anymore because what's going to happen? Your blood pressure is going to go up. You're going to get diabetes. You're going to get like all these bad things. You're going to get dementia because you're not moving, because your body is trying to keep you still. And it's like, it thinks it's the winning strategy because it got you this far. But once you're older, it is not a winning strategy, and we have to retrain.
Yeah, it might be the easy road, but that's not the best road. To lounge around and everything. Like, oh, I hit 40. It's time for me to just kind of like take it easy. Well, you can take it easy after you do your workout.
Yeah, and the thing is, dementia is not easy. Not being able to move is not easy. It's not like falling and breaking because your like bones are brittle. That's not easy. That's painful. You're going to be in the hospital. You might even die depending on your situation. That sounds awful, but it's like, that's where this orthopedic surgeon that did the study, she was so sick of seeing broken ladies on her table that she couldn't fix that had dementia. Like she was just done with it. She's like, I've got to stop this. And I'm with her. Wow. I'm like, yeah, we got to stop this. Like, it's easy to move, baby steps. Like,
yeah. How long does how long should somebody work out? Like if I don't want to spend, 2 hours a day working out or an hour every single day, like what's the minimum? What's the bare minimum somebody could do? You know?
Well, it's different for everybody. Everybody's in a different spot. Your bare minimum to start with, like, might be standing on one foot while you brush your teeth, and then building that trust with yourself that, okay, I did that. What's the next thing? I mean,
I like that. I
ideally,
like that. Yeah.
we're going to be like doing, 30 minutes 4 times a week. And more than that, like between our activities of daily living anyways, and paying attention to try to get more steps in and whatever. But you have to start where you are, and everybody's at a different spot as to what feasibly fits in, and train your brain that, oh, that fit in, so now I can fit in the next thing.
Yeah. I love that. Thanks for sharing that. So I'm going to pull up the book, Passion, Purpose, and Possibilities. The title of your chapter in the book is True North, Embrace Challenge, Align with Heart. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your chapter without giving it away? And just a reminder, you can get the book at actiontakerspublishing.com/passion. So tell us a little bit about your chapter.
So my chapter is about how I went through my life sort of a lost soul, having no idea what I wanted to do, and an athlete, but being told by certain people, well, you don't look like an athlete, because I was way overweight for like, I was very capable of moving, but I didn't look like an athlete. And shaming is not a way to like get through things, but it certainly lit some sort of a fire under me, and was part of my point of frustration trigger to do something. And it was all about finding my sport that helped me have purpose and passion and see possibility and just really want to excel. And yeah, so it's my little journey of going from a lost soul to finding like super passion through my sport, and then wanting to pass that on to other people.
Awesome. And thank you for sharing your story in that, in the book, and look forward to having people read it and see what they gain from it. Now, why don't you share with us, one last tidbit that you'd like to share with the audience that's listening right now? Anything related to your chapter or related to what you do, or to help them, whatever tidbit you'd like to share.
I think it's just that we can get this idea that they're in your 40s and 50s, it's over. Like, oh, don't get another bike. I'm 40. Like, I've heard that statement before. And I got 5 bikes when I was 40, in my 40s, because of my sport. I kept getting better and better bikes. And I'm actually in my best condition now. I'd say since I was a little kid, maybe 8, 9 years, but I wasn't even eating well then. So, I mean, I wasn't eating too badly. Mom was more in charge of food then, but I'm feeling better now in my 40s and 50s than I was in my 20s and 30s, because I figured out how to move well, how to have like strong bones and muscles, and how to eat well. And like, I really have almost no pain in my body doing lots of things, which just hasn't been the case before. So so for people that think it's over, oh, I'm 40 or like 50, 60, whatever, like, it's just beginning. It's like your time to like tune in and feel great and do lots of things. It's definitely not over. There's so much possibility, and we just need to open to that possibility, which is why I was so excited about being part of this book. Because yeah, it's not true that it's over. It's just not true. My grandmother also proved that, right? Like,
yeah, it's interesting, because even if the doing this doesn't give you all the results that you're wanting, it's still going to give you great results. And that's the thing, is it, like, we might want one certain thing, and maybe that's our goal. Maybe we don't hit that goal, but what's going to happen in the journey, along that journey, is that you're going to become stronger. You're going to become healthier. You're going to become more vibrant. You're going to become less tired. And so there's so many great things about it. So Karen, thanks so much again for doing the work you do. I love how you moved into this at a later age. And, like you weren't 20 when you got started, personal training, you got started later when you have all this wisdom that you can share with people. You have experiences that you can share with people to help them, through on their journey. And so you can connect with Karen by going to bunchomomentum.com and, connect with her over there and see what she has to offer. Check it out. Do you offer a consultation for people?
I do. I have a free 30-minute consultation. And the best way to reach me is through Buncho Momentum. You'll see my email there, info@bunchomomentum.com. You can just reach me through that. And we'll set up a time for that 30-minute session and figure out what your goals are and see if it's a good fit for us to match you up with one of my programs.
Fantastic. And don't forget, everybody, go out there and do your 10 toilet squats. Just kidding. That'd be funny if somebody started doing it and they reported back and they said, I've been doing my 10 toilet squats every time I go to the bathroom. So, anyway, everybody have a great day. And if you love this interview, please go ahead and share it out and, connect with Karen. Thanks, Karen, so much for being here today, and have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me.